You ready? Welcome, everybody, to our April 8th, 2025 planning meeting. We'll start the meeting. Terry, can I ask you to do our invocation, please?
Yes, sir. Our Heavenly Father, in this week leading up to the celebration of your Son's resurrection, we thank you for this day you've given us. We ask that your countenance shine down upon us, upon the citizens of our community, and on this meeting. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Terry. Ann?
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Terry, thank you. Madam Clerk, will you conduct a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Mr. Hall is absent. Mr. Merritt?
Here.
Ms. Powering? Here. Mr. Stryker?
Here.
And Chairman Rita.
Here, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being interested in what we do here in the city of Parker. Today, we had 4 things on the menu here, but the first thing got dropped off because our attorney is going to review that particular item on their own before it goes to the council members. So we'll be starting with item number 2 today. However, has everybody had a chance to review the minutes?
Yes.
Last month? Then I'll be looking for a motion to go ahead and approve or change.
I'll make a motion.
To approve
approve, I'm
as they are? Okay, no worries.
I wasn't here, so
Very
you
good.
say.
Yeah.
You looked at me, Terry.
That's
so
right.
I'll second it.
Second the motion, okay. Can I get a vote, please?
Absolutely. Mr. Merritt?
Yes.
Ms. Powering?
Yes.
Mr. Stryker?
Yes.
And Chairman Rita.
Yes, and thank you for the nice summary. Appreciate that very much. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, this is an opportunity for anybody to come to the podium and talk to the planning group on anything not on the agenda today. Does anybody have that? Yes, ma'am, please. And if you'll state your name, we have some people watching electronically, and then that way our clerk can go ahead and report your information.
I'm Janet Russell, and we live at the corner of Hickory and 22A.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm interested in knowing what, according to the internet map, the corner of Hickory and Levitt Street has become residential, which there sits a 4-unit apartment building, an empty lot, and 3 trailers. How does that fit into everything with the planning commission?
In terms of the various districts?
Well, let's say we own the trailer park.
Yes.
What if we decided to sell? Is Parker gonna say, hey, you can't leave the trailers there, it has to be housing?
Would you show me exactly where it is? Come on over here and point this out. So this is a map, and the legend here is any of the red is general commercial, the green is your MU1, dark green MU2. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Okay, right there.
So
There's-
run on the corner.
That's an empty lot.
Okay,
They lost it
so
in a
that's low
hurricane.
density residential, okay.
And this is an 4-unit apartment building.
Mhm.
That is our 3 trailer spaces that
Okay.
are rented, and that is our empty lot.
And the question is what?
Okay, this says residential, right?
So it's in a low density residential area,
Right.
okay?
This is a 4-unit apartment building.
Yes.
And this lot is so small that the only thing they could do is put a small building on it, not a house.
Yes.
And there's 3 trailers sitting there. So when we intend to sell,
Mm-hmm.
what is our problem, if any, with with Parker?
Okay, let's go ahead and let's give the rest of them. So, and I'll give a summary, and then and then some of the commissioners may have a question for you. So they have 3 trailers on 1 lot, is that right?
Right.
And then you have an apartment building on another lot.
We
just
don't own the apartment building,
Okay.
but
So
there
you,
is apartment building right next to the trailers
mm-hmm,
with 1 empty lot because the building was destroyed.
mm-hmm,
And then the one in the back has 4 units in it.
okay,
So actually, between the apartment buildings and I assume our trailer park, that is high density.
low density residential.
Is it, if it is low density,
Mhm.
we don't have a problem. But
Everything you pointed to me up here was low-density residential area.
Okay, so that apartment building, even though it's a 4-unit, is still low density.
What you pointed to me, everything was in low-density residential, that's correct.
So,
What you have there right now is referred to as a legal non-conforming structure and legal non-conforming use. And right now, that's okay, because there's nothing that would make you take that down. However, if you look at some of the new rules that are being imposed by municipalities by the state, now I'm going to speak regarding the apartment complex,
okay.
that apartment complex needs to be, for example, in an MU1, MU2, general commercial, anything other than that. There's an option that they could come and ask for a variance because it's already there from the council members in order to then sell it. However, the current council members voted that if you have a non-conforming structure or use in a district, that when you sell it, as long as you sell it, if you sell it to somebody that is a blood relative, the term they use is consanguinity, I believe it is. That's in the LDRs. Which means blood relative, direct blood relative, then there's no issue. You can do that. However, if you're selling it to a new person, at that point it would need to be compliant with the style of building and use that's in that particular area, in that district. That's the rules that we have there right now.
So you're saying, we don't own the apartment building.
Yes.
But you're saying if the apartment building was to be sold, they could run into problems trying to sell it.
They could. They would probably come here and ask for a variance to be able to do that. But if it truly is in that low-density residential area, if you look at in late 2024 and in early 2025, the state had a special session called Session C, and they are requiring municipalities like ours, if we have these rules in place, they're actually mandating the elimination of non-conforming uses because it's inconsistent with the character of that area. And they penalize municipalities for not doing that. And they do that either through lawful uses or means of perhaps not providing certain benefits, financial, monetary benefits to the municipalities. So if you have a comprehensive plan and a land development rule, and those rules are in place in order to protect your neighbors, because that's a constant theme that we have, is that whatever you do, whether you're building something or removing something, you can't harm your neighbor, because that's peppered throughout the land development rules. So is your question just about the 3 trailers that are there?
Mainly about the 3 trailers, but the apartment building being multi, and I figured the trailers were probably multi also, rather than residential.
Everything you pointed to me was low-density residential.
So
So
our 3
that's the
trailers-
district that it's in.
excuse me, our 3 trailers, which we do nothing, it's not a trailer park in terms of our services.
Yeah.
It is strictly 3 residents that have their trailers sitting on our land and we pay the taxes.
Yes.
That's all we do,
Okay, and there's current residences in those?
yes.
Okay. If you were to sell those, we'd have to look at the size of the land. Being low-density residential, you could divide that land into 3 equal parts or not so equal parts, as long as you've got at least 7,500 square feet for each of those different parcels.
And that would probably not qualify.
Okay.
Originally, 40-some years ago, we've been in town over 40-some years.
Mhm.
That area, including the apartment buildings, was a trailer park.
Mhm.
And then a certain amount, not 5 acres, but then the apartment building land was sold off by the owner, and the apartment buildings were put in, and they only left 3 trailers.
Mm.
So we bought the land the 3 trailers sat on, and we own the empty lot next to it.
Mhm.
And we haven't put anything back on the empty lot after we lost the rental house, because I wasn't allowed to put a modular, not a not a trailer, but a modular home there, because Parker said no, we would have rebuilt there, but that wasn't allowed.
When you say, go ahead, Ann,
Oh, I
I'm
was
sorry.
gonna add, Janet, do you,
Yeah.
what is the size of each lot? Do you know? Are they quarter
Uh,
acre, eighth of an acre?
From one point, including the, empty lot and the trailer lot, and we have them both on one deed now, but they're two parcels on one deed.
Mm-hmm.
It's 205 feet across the front and 145 feet deep.
Okay,
The bigger portion, I believe, is probably the empty lot.
okay. For whatever it's worth, had you built a modular home, you'd have a difficult time selling it because Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, VA,
Well-
they don't take those as collateral. So whoever buys, had you been allowed to build one, would have to pay
Well,
cash.
Where I come from in Pennsylvania,
Mhm.
we have modular factories,
Yes.
two-story houses. I have grandchildren that have bought,
Oh, they're lovely.
they're modular
lovely
houses,
homes.
2 stories, et cetera. I'm not talking, I didn't wanna put I don't think the people I spoke to understood what a modular home was,
Right.
where they bring it in boxes.
Yeah, it's not considered a mobile home. A
Right.
modular home's perfectly acceptable,
But see, back then,
yeah.
when when the hurricane first happened, they said no, because I don't think they understood what a modular home was.
Modular homes, when you go to those manufacturing plants, are oftentimes better than the stick-built homes that are
Right.
here,
Built
because
in a
they're built,
controlled
they're
environment.
built in an air-conditioned plant and then bolted into place on foundations after the fact. Parker absolutely allows modular homes. There's no
Well,
issues there.
We're getting too old to do that. But we would have probably had to go to the Carolinas to even get a factory.
I got you.
I mean, they would have been brought in for quite a ways, because it's not popular down here. So, but my worry is, when our estate settles up, I don't want them to run into a problem that they can't sell the property, and I'm very protective of my renters.
Yeah,
And Tony's mother lives in one of them,
yeah.
and I don't want them to have to be evicted because
Well,
Parker is saying
well,
they
here's
can't
the,
be there.
here's the situation. You actually have, because they're there already, you do have, you can keep those there. You have plenty of areas where you've got over 31,000 square feet. An acre is 43,560, and the density ruling in this particular municipality is 5 dwelling units per acre. So that works out to about 8,700 square feet. All
Well-
they would have to do is divide it into three areas, and you could go with one of them as small as 7,500 square feet. But you've got the space, and dividing
Well,
the land.
The thing of it is, the empty lot, I asked Parker if I could extend the 3 trailers, put 2 more trailers on the empty lot,
Right.
just run the sewer over and so forth.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let me do that either.
Well, that's because when the rules were written in low-density residential areas, that comes back to we're trying to protect your neighbors. They're-
True, but the neighbors came in after all this happened. I mean, this
Well, I'm ta-
stuff was all there,
I'm talking
and then
about-
the neighbors came.
Yeah, but you said you have an empty lot and you wanted to put 2 more mobile homes on it?
Well, we would have considered
That would be
it
new, and
if
ultimately
Parker
that's,
would have allowed it, but they wouldn't allow us to extend over onto the empty lot for trailers.
you'd put 2 new trailers onto the empty lot?
We could have,
Okay.
except Parker said no in that also.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's because that's against the
And
current land
that's
development
okay,
rules.
so the lot sits empty.
Mhm.
And my worry is when the lots have to be sold,
Yes.
what kind of problem is Parker gonna give them and making the people that live there move out? I don't want them to have to move out.
That's what I was telling you, is they wouldn't have to, as long as they divided the land. You've got enough land there. You have,
Well, I suspect, I have had to show, when a new one moved in, I have to show the size of the lots, and they're not very big.
well, you gave me the dimensions, and that works
Well-
out to 31,175 square feet.
But half of that is residential. housing. The empty lot, they can't, we could sell it as a parcel, but that isn't going to relieve the size of the trailer spaces because you can't go over onto the empty lot.
Oh, so the dimensions you gave me was
It's-
where the trailers are now and the empty lot?
That's
Yes.
right.
Okay,
Right.
I was under the impression you were talking about where they are right
No,
now.
it's-
Okay,
It's split more or less in half. It's not an equal half.
yeah.
So the 3 spots probably would not qualify under the requirements, but as said, I don't want our estate to have a problem trying to sell the property because they ran into problems with Parker. And also, I don't want the people that are living there forced to move because it's not inexpensive to move and move a home.
Well, the land development rules right now would allow those to remain as they are because they're there already.
Okay.
However, during the sale, if you sell, that triggers the requirement for compliance to the area. And that area being a low-density residential area, you've got to have at least 7,500 square feet of a divided and single
And
family.
it won't qualify for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Could those
And
be
I'm-
combined?
Well,
The-
they won't allow us to go over onto the empty lot because it was a house lot.
Yeah, so what you would want to do is you'd want to combine the lots and then,
But that
and
wouldn't
then
work.
use that, but that is against,
Right.
when you go to the state and
That's
you
true. Catch
create
22.
your future land development concepts, sometimes those messages are rather difficult because it's, some people are going to be disappointed with what ends up happening. At the end of the day, it's because the lawmakers of our city have said, we would rather have those areas be single-family homes.
Well, yeah, it looks better, but
Yes, ma'am.
these people live there,
Yes, ma'am.
including the people in the housing or in the apartment.
Yes.
I mean, the apartment building is not my problem, but they are multi-housing. And then I assumed that our 3 trailers, which state of Florida says if you have 2 or more, it's a trailer park. So that would be multi also.
Require an MU1. However, they're grandfathered in because they're there right now, but the sale would trigger compliance to whatever the current rules are.
So there would be a problem with who was buying it. They'd probably make the trailers move out and they could put 2 houses in.
They could put 2 single-family homes in, that's correct. Actually, you could put 3 in. You could
No.
put 3, well, if you
Well,
have
you could.
if you have 31,115 square feet, you absolutely could. Because you only need, the density rules say that you need at least 8,700 square feet per property, and one of those can be as small as 7,500 square feet.
Yeah, I would hate to see 3
Yeah.
houses in that. It's not
Yeah.
that big in my opinion.
Yeah, it's, but, I mean, you've got almost 7/10 of an acre there with a little over 31,000 square feet. You could put 2 homes there without any heartburn.
Right, but I want them, let them die there and then we can move them out.
I don't think, I think they're grandfathered in as long as, but if you do sell the property and it's non-consanguinity, then that's what triggers the requirement for compliance.
And see, that would make them have to move.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm not gonna live forever.
I wish we all could.
But anyways, I just wanted to know what the problem was, and yes, there probably will be a problem for the trailers.
You would have to ask for, there's other avenues. You'd have to ask for a variance to occur. And that would be a situation where the lawmakers, the governing body, would have to grant that variance.
Okay,
There are unique circumstances here, and when a variance is granted, there have to be unique circumstances. In other words, you do have a unique circumstance. They're there right now. They're living there, and all you're wanting to do is sell the property, and those same people would live in those trailers. Is that right?
right.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's
their
a unique,
trailers.
that's a unique situation, and I think that there's a chance that variance would be approved.
Well, what about the possibility me applying for the variance now that when it came time to sell, since someone else will be handling the estate, that we get the variance now? Can I apply for that?
You absolutely could. You could apply for the variance. This is a, we're not the governing body here, though. We're the people who work through the nuts and bolts of what the rules are compared to what you're asking.
Right.
And I could tell you, what you're doing would be against the rules, but there are unique circumstances. I would review the 7 questions that you would go through when answering the variance request, but I think it's unique enough where there's a chance that the governing body may approve it.
Okay, it would make, the estate more comfortable if the variance was already in place, so.
Yes, because once a variance is in place, it remains with the life of the property.
Who do I see about applying for a variance?
This young lady right here.
I'll see you soon. Okay.
Very good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take a look at those 7 questions, though, and just make sure that, you know, they're well understood and that you feel comfortable that a variance would go through. I think there's a cost to the variance. What is it, $150, something like that? Okay, very good. But thank you for your time.
The investment for the future.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Does anybody else like to bring something to planning? Very good. Okay, as I'd mentioned, we had 4 items on the menu. The first item was an easement discussion, a removal of an easement, but our attorney is going to handle that on his own. I don't want to blister, is it Guyan? Mr. Guyan?
Win.
Gwen, say it again?
Nguyen?
Gwen, Mr. Gwen?
No, leave
Um,
it, Nguyen, drop the G.
Win.
Nguyen. drop
Nguyen,
the-
Nguyen,
no-
okay,
no
very
G.
good.
You don't,
Well-
silent,
There's a lot of
correct?
silent letters in
Okay.
Thank God I
No,
didn't
yeah.
blister it.
Okay.
No
Mr.
N
Nguyen,
either.
so
Just
what
win.
we'll ask you to do, because we have people watching electronically, just kind of tell us your name and why you're here and what you'd like us to review today for you.
My name is Dwee Nguyen. I own the mobile home park right off of 750 Highway 22A. We've had it for about 3 years now. I think we've done a lot of improvements to the park, paving the roads, everything that the city has asked us to do. So I think it looks 100 times better than when we first purchased it. But what we're looking for right now is now we're at the point where we can start to fill the park, and we're trying to get our dealer's license. But because of the zoning, it's not allowing us to have a dealer's or a mobile home dealer at the location. But for us, we're not really looking to have a real mobile home dealership. We're only looking to fill our park. And so in order for us to do that, we just have to have a site that we can register for the license.
So, any questions from anybody? So, how many sites do you have? About 20 in there right now? Is that what I'm looking at?
We
when I
have
looked at the-
42, but 20 are occupied.
20 are
about
occupied.
21 or 22 vacant.
So, the information we got is that you wanted to be able to sell mobile homes, manufactured homes from that area. So, is that
Not from the area,
Okay.
just for our park. So we
Okay.
would be able to partner with a company called 21 Mortgage,
okay?
and they would fund the home, and we would just move into our park, and then they would fund whoever would buy the home and finance them. And so,
Okay.
but we had to have a dealer's license and able to do that structure with them.
Okay, so you would own the property, they would own the structure.
Then, yeah, we only do lot rent, so we only own the
Okay.
land. But for us to be able to move new homes on there in this type of scenario, where we don't have to buy the homes, then resell them to the actual homeowner, they will actually fund the home and move it to our site, and then they would finance whoever actually buys the home from us.
So they're the mortgage holder.
They're the mortgage
company you
holder,
partner
correct.
with.
Right.
You're not looking to expand or add, increase the density at all? Just
No,
the
we're just looking
ability
to
to
fill.
fill the spaces?
Correct.
And
And,
you charge lot rent.
Correct,
That's
just
your
lot
part.
rent.
Right.
Correct.
What was the space you had in that area? The total lot size? Was it 7-something acres, 7-point-something
It's about,
acres?
it's about 7 acres. I can't remember the exact, but it's about 7 acres.
7 acres. Okay, so, and that's MU1, so 7 acres. And you'd want, how many spots? 40?
42.
Currently, it's over 42. We have 20.
Okay, well, you're
21, 22.
under the density requirement there.
Right.
So you're just saying you would need a license in order to bring more, to sell the trailers in that location, and then put them on that spot, the remainder spots that are already there.
Correct. And we would need maybe some type of special use permit or something to allow us to have a dealership there in order to register it.
Now, the weird part about that is that, on the other hand, is a direct violation of the land development rules. I think it's
4.5.4.
454. That's under prohibitions, is that right? Yeah.
Mark, I'm also not, if you're looking for each trailer to be on .2 in order, are you looking for that? Because I'm not getting that. I'm getting something like 7,200.
Well, he's MU1.
Okay, so it's
So
a bit
MU1,
denser.
they can have
It's
up to
5,000.
15 residences, 15 residences per acre.
Oh, got
Um,
it, okay. Got it.
But you're right, though, mobile homes, parks are different than that. The issue we're gonna run into is, home sales, service, or storage is a direct prohibited mechanism under this. It's a little different than, from owning a license. So you wouldn't sell mobile homes out of that location. You would only buy them, put them on the spots, and then sell them to people in those spots, right?
Correct. We're not going to be an open to public type dealership. There will never be anybody in the office. It's really just to get the license is required to have an office.
Yeah,
And we had that one just sitting there empty.
yeah.
So we were hoping to be able to use that to fill the park.
He's not gonna be the middleman. Somebody else sells them.
Yeah, so he's gonna,
moves them. Correct?
is that right?
Well,
or-
no, so we would partner with the lender, and they would pay for the home from the dealer, or I guess the manufacturer that we.
They underwrite them? It's a-
Correct, and then they would pay for it on our behalf to move it into our park. And so they would finance whoever the end buyer is after we found the buyer for them.
I think we call it floor planning. When you do that with automobiles, it's called
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
floor planning, so, okay.
But we wouldn't operate like a public type dealership. It would just be empty all the time.
Have you read through all of those mobile home park requirements that are gonna take place at the end of this year?
We
Um,
have,
Probably,
yeah.
yep.
So I think we've already complied to all of them.
Yep, yep.
The 5,000 square foot lot requirement, the paved roads. I think we've done everything.
So there, you do have an office,
You have a vacant office.
and who would be in the office to deal with any inquiries? A member of your staff or a member of the floor planning or lender's staff?
It would probably just be our property manager.
Our
She'd
property
probably just
manager.
come meet them at the site if they didn't want to buy it.
I'm just trying to figure out a way, if you leased space to a salesperson of another company, you simply are leasing that space. I'm just wondering if that's a workaround, and I bring that up only because I was a stockbroker decades ago. Couldn't do that through a bank, but yet you could lease space in a bank lobby from the bank and sell to the customers. So I'm just trying to figure out if there's a way to get around you needing the license, if instead you rent that office to a salesperson that is licensed but not employed by you, the third party. That don't know if you can do that.
With the lender, they require us to have the actual license.
They want you to
because
have the
they deal with
Just
the dealers
Okay,
directly.
and that's, all right. That's where the snafu is,
Right.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, good point. So, John, our attorney is saying, the heartburn that we've got is that there's a prohibition about actually selling from that spot. But this is a little different, right? Because there's a twist in it. And the twist in it is that you've already got a mobile home park. And these are gonna be new mobile homes you're moving in?
Correct.
Okay,
And
new
homes.
mobile homes. And there is an exceptions clause here under mobile homes, but it only applies in general commercial districts. But again, there's a little bit of a twist here. And your twist is that you're not looking to sell mobile homes to people who are gonna come in and then purchase them and then use them and then move them somewhere else. You're not gonna be a dealer, kinda like you see over on 15th Street. You've got 20, you got 40 spaces?
Yeah, 42 total, but like 20, I think 21 or 22 vacant.
That's, okay, 20, so you're gonna fill those vacancies to that amount.
Correct.
And then you're going to, and then you're gonna stop, right?
The only time we would pick it back up is if, you know, someone moved out and we had to demo the home, then we'd maybe move another one on site. But it would never increase in density, it would only service
Well,
our
you
part.
would need a dealer license at that point, because all you're doing is you're replacing one at that point, right? Rather than putting new ones in there.
Well, it'll be a new one, but yes, maybe
Yeah.
eventually we want to put all new homes, you know. in the-
How long do you think that license, you would have to have that dealer license in place?
Could 2 years maybe?
2 years?
I don't know how fast these things sell.
I mean, that is a MU1, it's acceptable for mobile homes. The one thing would be the sales, but he's not actually doing it beyond. Yeah. Thoughts?
What do you do when someone moves out and there's a foreclosure? They stop paying the bank and the bank has them go out. The mobile home then has to be resold. They're not gonna take it off the property. They're
Right.
kinda hoping, do you have to have a dealer's license for that?
No.
No, just to resell an existing one that's on the
Well,
land.
if you sell more than one
If
a
you
year,
sell-
you have to have a dealer's license.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if we only had one and we had to evict them and got back the title, then we wouldn't need it. But if you sell more than one,
Okay.
from my understanding anyway.
Guess it's conceivable they could buy it, stay there a few months and then move it.
Right. I mean, we would try to lock them in some type of
Right.
longer land lease or
Yeah.
some type of agreement.
That's the whole point,
Right.
because
Right.
that's your trailer park. You're
Right.
not looking to make money selling the trailers. Your money is made in the ground rent.
Correct.
Okay. The land lease, I guess, or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, he already owns the park. The reason for the variance is because what we didn't want is for mobile home, sort of a dealer where they're
Right.
constantly selling them and there's that kind of traffic. But this is
Right.
a horse
It's
of a
not a
different
dealership
color.
lot.
Yeah, this is not.
He's wanting
It's
to
just
fill
land.
another 21 or 22 spots.
Is there something, short term, in other words, can he apply for an annual license that's subject to renewal based on activity, compliance with,
Well, our city clerk, he comes in every year
Okay.
and gets an annual business license.
okay,
And our city clerk could deny that if there's some violation there.
gotcha.
It would help make everything look better.
Yeah,
They
I mean,
need new
especially if he's
ones.
moving in
Yeah.
new ones, yeah.
Yes.
And that area, 22A, is designated for mobile home
Yeah.
parks, and he's already got an existing business. Like I say, the reason for the variance is because becoming a dealer, it's in direct contrast to, but he's not really a dealer. All he's doing is trying to fill the spots and then get them sold to the individuals that are there. Are you in agreement with that? I
Can
mean,
the-
am I falling
In a
outside the?
purchase contract, that's really pretty much then between
It's a different
the
kind of
lender
a-
and the buyer.
He's not really
There's-
selling to
Do they then
people
sign
that
a
are gonna be
one-year lease
outside the-
agreement, or a 3-year, or
He's
a
not a
5-year
dealer
at the
conventional
We're hoping to
purchase?
sign him for 5 years. is
So
our
it's a
goal.
5-year.
Is our goal. I mean, I don't know how well that's gonna go fly by, but at
Well,
least
I'm
it
wondering
works.
if
Yeah.
that can somehow be worked into this, because that would
I know that the
prevent
city's been,
the quick
consistent,
turnover,
at
which is
least
what
in
they're
their
worried about.
denial
That
of these
doesn't,
types
can't
of
look like a trailer dealership.
Right.
Yeah.
You're just
Yeah.
selling them and then they're moving
Yeah, right.
elsewhere.
But
It
his
is fairly
different,
expensive to
right?
move these
Yeah.
things.
Oh, I would
Yeah.
think.
Um,
So
most
once they're
people-
there, I would
Right.
think you're, do you have any
Oh, yes,
statistical
absolutely.
data? How long does
Absolutely.
someone
You can.
typically
Mr. Sloan does all the
stay?
time.
In a,
I
in
don't
a-
have that, but since we bought it, yeah, probably 75 of our tenants have stayed. The other
Okay,
ones have probably been
75%
evicted.
have stayed it for 3 years?
Right.
Okay.
Mr. Grant, John would like to ask, our city attorney would like to ask a couple of questions if he could.
Sure.
I'm not that familiar with this broker's license, but you had mentioned that if you sell more than one per year, then you need a broker's license to sell mobile homes. Is that the type of license that you could, I guess, once you've filled out the lots, go inactive and say you need it at some point in the future, 5-10 years down the line, you could pick it back up without having to go through a bunch of hoops? Or is that something that you would, I'm not familiar with the application process.
I'm not either.
Okay.
And so they have to approve your site. And so when they approved everything up to the point when they saw the zoning, and then that's when they send us the denial. And so if that's why we're here. But I mean, I guess we could make it inactive. But again, there would be never anybody there, you know, in the office or anything.
Right, and I guess,
Or if you would approve it, we can maybe do it like a yearly basis to make sure that we're still complying.
I think that
To
probably,
what
if you're willing to do that, because what the city's trying to prevent is from that becoming like a mobile home sales, you know, outlet.
Right.
But you're definitely doing something different than what the LDRs were intended against, you know, for the prohibition piece of it. I mean, you're simply wanting to fill the spots that you already have. And so I think if you're willing to go ahead and say that you'll keep that license until those slots are filled, and then no longer be that dealer, that might be something the governing body could deal with.
Okay, now we can agree to that. I mean, I'm sure there's a way to just make it inactive with the EVPR or whatever.
Yeah, and you know, if you need a little bit more time, then, you know, like things don't go so well, then they would probably have to go ahead and approve it again. But by then you'll have put another 15 or 20 of them in maybe, and you'll be close to your, you know, your goal.
how do you, I guess, how do you plan on advertising the sales of these homes? Are you,
It's probably just through Facebook Marketplace or
So-
Craigslist, like something like that. I mean, that's how
Primarily
we
online?
advertise the ones that we have to evict.
I imagine that the, you know, having signage, commercial signage at, you know, the property where these mobile homes are going to be, which is a residential neighborhood, might not be,
Right, that
well
would go
received.
real well, I don't
Right.
think.
Yeah.
Who are you going through for the mobile homes?
We haven't picked a manufacturer yet, but most
Okay.
likely Clayton or.
So
Someone else.
basically, Clayton would, they would partner with Clayton, they have the land, Clayton has the home, the bank would approve that, so wouldn't the bank be, like, if, like, let's say one, like, went into foreclosure, that would be the bank's responsibility to either move it or sell or to sell that?
Well, we would have to evict them.
Yeah.
And at that point, I guess we would assume the home at that time.
Okay.
Or at least that's how we've been doing it now, is they would give us a title, or we would have to go to the eviction process and get the title that way
Mhm.
in order to sell to somebody else, to get somebody
Okay.
else in there.
I was just, like, who actually purchases the home?
The homeowner, or
Okay.
whoever's gonna live there.
So, will you take possession of the homes and folks will go and look at them? Or only when they've purchased, paid for, worked it out with the lender, the home is delivered to your site?
Correct. They have to be prepaid before they.
So you're not gonna just fill up your lot with homes in the hopes that they buy and stay there?
Correct.
right?
We might have one or two at a time, at
Okay.
the most.
And then chances are, if somebody says, well, I wanna buy one, but I don't wanna stay here, they're probably not gonna buy that one. They're gonna go to the lender and have it delivered wherever they're going. It's gonna bypass you altogether?
Right, I mean, it's gonna be on our site, set up and everything, and so
Okay,
it would be very unlikely that they would pay for another setup fee to pull it off our site.
correct, cause that's the expensive part,
That's- yeah.
very expensive part,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
That's the point, like, when it goes to the lender, cause the lender would then be the dealer, not necessarily you being the dealer. The lender would be the one that would have to sell the property, or sell the.
Well,
the
we
home.
technically would be the dealer because we're dealing directly with the manufacturer.
Okay.
But, the lender would finance the buyer.
Okay.
So there wouldn't be a ton of traffic. It would be, you know, set an appointment with the property manager. She
Right.
would meet them on site.
You just take possession of a few and then,
It'd be 1 or 2 max, because we do have to front all the setup fees and all of that
and then
ourselves.
if people buy, more are brought in, but not necessarily taken
Right.
out.
He's not gonna have 500 people
Right,
show up
right,
on a
right.
weekend.
No.
Got it,
No.
got it, okay.
And you did, like I say, you did go ahead and review all of what the new standards for the mobile home parks are gonna be, like the recreation area, the setbacks, the green belt areas, and minimum lot size. I heard you say 5,000 square feet.
Correct. I mean, I think I'm pretty sure we complied to everything on there.
Very good.
Even paved the roads here in the last couple of months.
Okay. So here's what we have. So within the regulations, if we didn't want a dealer to be selling mobile homes in that MU1 area, but this has really got a unique twist to it. He already owns the property.
Right.
He's and back in 2022, we set new standards for mobile home parks that they had to comply with: paved roads, green belt area. You remember,
I
Terry,
remember all
because
that.
green belt areas, recreational areas, and I think you're compliant with all of those things. I'd review those things first because it'll probably come up during the
Right.
council meeting. So the one thing that's different is if we look at the MU1 area, we didn't want any dealers, but he's really not a dealer. There's kind of a twist. He's being asked to become a dealer in order to just sell the remaining slots there. So John, anything else before I ask for a motion and a vote?
Do you know if the Clayton Homes, isn't there a Clayton Homes on 15th Street? But I don't know if that's a franchise dealership or if it's a direct operation with Clayton Homes. If it's, I guess, the latter, would they, directly owned by the manufacturer itself? Could you go through, have the homes, I guess, initially delivered, have the showings done at the 15th Street area, and then once the buyer locks down the loan and, comes to an agreement with the lender, at that point have them delivered?
So it's just, so for us, right, like if they go to Clayton Homes, they can just basically, they're just buying the home and they can move it anywhere else.
Right.
For us to fill the park, it's easier for us to fill the park if the actual home is on site.
Right.
That way they know, okay, they're happy with this location, this is where they wanna live.
And that's how you'd operate? So you'd actually buy like 20 or 22 homes? put
No,
it-
maybe 1 or 2 at a time, because we do have to front all the setup fees and all of
I
that type
see
of
that.
stuff. There is a cost to that.
So you bring 1 or 2 in at a time until the lot's full, until you get
Correct.
22 more of them in there.
Correct. So if they start selling fast, then obviously we
Yeah.
can buy a little bit quicker, but we have no idea how long it's gonna take to.
I think when we review the variance request, I think that meets the requirement because it's generally, it's unique and that's, there, so if we look at this, there's a specific hardship affecting the development of the property resulting from the strict application of these provisions. Okay, so he could normally go out and buy another 22 homes if he wanted to and put them in that spot. But they're forcing him to be a dealer because the MU1, 22A, that's where we wanted the mobile homes. So the hardship is nothing based on anything he's done. The variance is a requirement because we have a specific rule here about a dealership, but he's not going to be a dealership. He's simply buying them to get, he has to have the dealership license in order to fill his mobile home park the way he wants to do it. And it's really compatible with the adjacent area. That's number 5. Let's see. Really, it meets the spirit of the regulations because he's not in a situation where he's really becoming a dealer. He's simply doing it to get around whatever rules the dealership has that he's going to be dealing with. And it is consistent with the comprehensive plan because the comprehensive plan allows mobile home parks there. And it sounds like they bought the park 3 years ago and they've improved the park to the 2025 end of year standards, right? Did I summarize that about the way it needs to be done?
Pretty
Okay.
good job.
All right, so, I mean, and this is unique. It's not a direct violation because it's sort of simply a way that he wants to conduct his business in order to run his business, simply because of some requirement that's being placed on them for him to become a dealer in order to sell it this way. So he's not actually selling homes out of there where they're gonna get hooked up and dragged somewhere else, like they do at Clayton, Homes. They're gonna be on a spot and they're gonna stay there. So that's very different from what I think the intent of the LDRs were, and that was to prevent, homeowners who are nearby from being harmed by a dealership operating in that area, which is primarily for, the benefit of residences, and light industry and that sort of thing, light businesses to operate.
I'd be real comfortable with this if we can be assured it will not turn into a dealership.
Yes, that could
And
be.
maybe that can be done with a yearly review.
Well, like I
I
say,
don't know.
What about code enforcement?
Ingrid, Ingrid actually has the right to deny a business,
Well, there you go.
a
Spelled
business license
Yeah.
annually. Annually, people are supposed to
Right.
come to her and renew their license. So she'll have the notes,
Right.
and if it's in violation of whatever the motion is here or in the council members, she has the right to say, hey, look, you violated the requirements. So I think this is unique enough to move forward with a motion, and I would put that in there that, if there's a violation, in other words, they're using it for more than just filling the slots, then we'd be in a position where, our city clerk could then deny their business license for
they-
the year after that, or until they comply.
Yeah.
Okay. John, you satisfied? Uncomfortable? Just because you're worried Sloan's gonna slap you?
It does, I guess, at least inform,
Yeah.
contradict what is stated as a prohibited use in
Yes.
the LDRs, but I also recognize that it is
Yeah.
a unique situation, creative, I think, on your part. So it's up to you.
Okay, very good.
However you wanna-
Well, it's up to everybody here, because
Yeah,
everybody gets an equal
We're not a final
vote.
decision either.
Yeah,
If problems come up.
But,
down-
they're,
Yeah.
they'll look at the
Right.
planning review and
Right.
make their decision based on that.
Which
So
I think the thinking here is legitimate. It's-
I do too.
it's-
And I think your point is yours or Ann's point, or maybe it was Kyle, I can't remember who said, hey, it's improving the area because and these are all gonna be new mobile homes, right?
It'll be new from the dealer.
Yeah,
Or
so
manufacturer.
that's gonna definitely, and I don't know if you guys have gone out to the beach and seen some of these mobile home parks, but when you've got a good owner that's a responsible and they're dedicated to their brand and they wanna build something nice, some of those places are beautiful. It doesn't have to be, shoddy, mobile home parks. Doesn't have to be. They can be very nice. Okay, so what I'll ask for is a motion, and let me give you an idea of what the motion could possibly sound like. That we're gonna recommend to the council to allow for this variance based on the concept that annually we will review if the business is being conducted as we discussed here. In other words, for the sole purpose of filling the remaining slots, and that the new regulations regarding mobile home parks in terms of green space, size, and everything, that all of those are compliant. The roads are all paved to the 16 feet that we had requested, those kinds of things. So, and I think our former clerk pointed this out to me earlier today. I think the requirement for that compliance is December 31st of this year. So that the park has been held to the standards set by the council members by December 31st of 2025, okay? We're already there. And that we are recommending this go to council for their review and potential approval. Okay?
I would make that recommendation just like Mark stated it.
Okay, very good.
It's exactly what I was thinking.
Okay, so You need more time for your notes, are you
I
okay?
do not, I'm good.
All right, very good. Okay, so, I'll need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, very good. I'll need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, I'll need a vote, please.
Excellent. Mr. Merritt,
Yes.
Ms. Powering,
Yes.
Mr. Striker.
Yes.
And Chairman Regan.
Yes, and thank you. Thanks for improving the city. And we'll look forward to one of those super luxurious mobile home parks. Now, it still has to go to the council members for their review.
Okay.
And everything we discussed here, I think I would probably, in order to make sure that they're comfortable with this, make sure you review in section 5 what those new those development standards were for
Right.
mobile home parks, because quite frankly, I've seen some magnificent mobile home parks, okay, and then I've seen some real dogs out there.
Right.
And what they're trying to protect against is harming the neighbors when you get, you know, the downside, the dogs of those things. But if you're putting in paved roads and putting in green space and putting in recreational areas and everything, I think, and then they would own the box, you'd own the land, then I think what you're doing in terms of being a dealership really is not what we were trying to prevent in this prohibition
Right.
of the land development rules. Okay? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate
I
you.
looked at this coming up and I thought, heck no, that's not gonna work. And,
Well,
yeah,
listen-
when you explain it, it's very good concept.
I've seen it done before, actually, in unincorporated Bay County, and it worked just
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
And that was like 14 years ago. So.
Absolutely. Very good.
So what's the
May
next
6th.
step from here?
Oh.
Council regular meeting, May 6th.
So I come back May 6th?
You will.
Yes.
Okay.
And they are the governing board, but they'll look at our review and we'll have an opportunity to
And they're mean.
talk to them.
Is it the same time, or do you send out?
5:30.
5:30?
Theirs will be at 5:30, yeah.
And I would just go down that regulation list of everything you have to meet and just like say how you've met it. That
Okay.
way, when they ask those questions, have you met this? Have you met this? You can say yes, and this is how it's done.
All right, cool.
And you started that, Mr. Gwent, by talking about how you've already paved the roads and everything. It's probably not a bad idea to start with that, letting them know that you knew that the threshold for mobile home parks being compliant with the new rules that were set in 2022, that your park is to that standard, okay? And that these are gonna be brand-new homes filling existing slots, and everything from a standpoint of density and everything is compliant.
Okay.
All right, sir? And that the only reason that you need your dealer's license is because of the business that you're doing, you're gonna be conducting, in order to then, sell those homes to the people who are gonna be in those lots.
Sounds good.
Not anybody outside.
Right.
Okay? Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that. That was, all right, very good. So, is it Mr. and Mrs. Davis? Very good. I remember this one. So this is the one where we had like a public access separating your property, and you were gonna go see if you owned to the middle of the road in that public access in order to determine if you could then combine that land to your parent property so that you'd have enough space to build a garage.
That's correct.
How are we doing on that?
We went and found the original owner. Her name was Al Broughton, and anyway, she was married, and she lives in Tennessee. She's real old. And since she was the original signer for the deed, or whatever, whenever they made them homes, only she could sign it legally.
Okay,
And she had had open heart surgery on Christmas Eve, and God rest her, and God bless her soul, she was so nice and, helped us out. And so I got a lawyer here, clear title. They did all the paperwork. I gave her the parcel where it shows that now at 1009, we own 1/11th, just like on 1013, we own 1/11th. All them houses own 1/11th on that service road or common area. What they did, they added 1009, which was the only house out of 11 that didn't have it on there, which was a typo or something. So what they did, they got her and she signed it saying she would, give us 1/11th of that common area.
1/11th of the common area.
And so
So-
that
okay.
makes it where we can merge the properties now, 'cause we own on both sides.
So, and have you merged the property?
No, I came here because you told me the city clerk would be able to do that.
No, the city clerk will give you a letter that will then allow you to go down to the clerk of courts, right, John? Is that the
Bay
process?
County?
Yeah, Bay County Clerk of Courts. They will then merge the property,
Okay.
and then you'll have the space you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
It's been recorded and everything down there. It's all legal beagle and everything.
but when you say they're recorded, so you own the property across, but has the merger been recorded so that that property where you want to build a garage has been merged to your
No.
parent
Because
tract?
I had to get that 1/11th
Okay,
because the other part had 1/11th. So now I got 1/11th on both sides. You know what I mean? It's like I own part of that road
yeah.
like everybody else. So that's, and we're not gonna do away with the road.
No, I understand that, and you don't have to. Yeah, you don't
Yeah,
have to. But the state does say that with certain types of roadways, when you've got, like if it's a public access or an alley, for example, the state does say that if you can show that you own up to the middle of that road and then your other property owns up to the middle, those are abutted proproperties.
Well, it's
So
a
they-
1/11, so that's, we're touching.
Yes, sir. So then what, the next step for you to do is to have Ingrid
Yeah.
write a letter, okay, to you that identifies to the clerk of courts that we're okay with you
Okay.
merging that property,
All right.
okay? And then once they do that, then there's not even a requirement for a variance, because once you had the parent
Yeah, I
track
remember-
added to the second track, you had enough land, right?
Yeah, I remember you telling me
Right?
that
'Cause we
last
did the
time.
math
That's-
on it?
Yeah, that's why we went with it, because it's not 7,500, but together it would cover that.
So it becomes
And
contiguous.
and we're-
Well, and you have a principal residence on the other one, right?
Yeah, 100.
Yeah, that, okay.
And we own
that's-
property on the water too,
Yeah,
so that would be sufficient.
well, the only thing that would matter, it's low-density residential, right?
I guess, I don't know.
Okay.
Residential.
I think it is, right? Is that
Yeah.
right? I think it was low density. So the only thing that would matter at that point is that you're not beyond your 40% impervious area.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
think we did the math on all that
Yeah,
before,
we're just
and I
gonna
think
put
we're
something
fine.
very small
Yeah.
there for storage.
So I think well, here's the deal. Did you file for a variance? Okay.
sure
But
did.
here's the deal. You don't need a variance.
Well, at first we thought we had to get a variance
Right.
because we didn't know that, and then they said, well, with the new rules,
I know, but I mean, if you combine the property, then
yeah,
you,
we're
then
good.
you don't need the variance.
That's right, exactly.
So
That's what we're trying to do, yeah.
It's not, it's not necessary for us to approve on a variance, okay? Because you're not gonna need the variance.
That's correct.
You're gonna combine the property, and
Yes.
then you can build that legally because you'll have all the space you need.
that's correct.
Yeah.
Excuse
So-
me, but we still would have to have a permit for the building.
Oh, but but you don't need to go through us to build a garage, though, hon. No. This young lady right here can approve it all for you.
All right.
Yeah. So do this for me.
All right.
Come back, are you in tomorrow? Okay. Get a letter from Ingrid that identifies that the city is okay with you, because you've shown ownership of that common alleyway or roadway. Get a letter from her that identifies that the city is okay with you combining it, then go to the county and get it merged, okay, combined. You'll fill out a paperwork to them that says ultimately that that's what you want. It'll be added to the tax roll of the first property that's there, okay? And then you'll have enough space in order to
Sure,
build that garage.
that'd be great.
So, excuse me, would that have to be done at the property appraiser office?
I think so.
I believe it is.
Yeah, it used to be you'd have to go down to Bill Kinzel's office and start there, but I think he had some thing 6 or 8 months ago that said you don't have to do that anymore, just go to the property appraiser's office, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I will call you as soon as I have that ready, for you to come pick up.
Pardon me, I can't hear very good.
I'll call you as soon as I have that ready for you to come.
Oh, that'd be great, wonderful. Well,
So-
thank y'all, hey.
Okay.
I've
So
already
have a
got-
found answer.
So what we're gonna do there, Mr. Davis, is because you came before us to approve a variance, my point is that it's not gonna be a variance, because I thought the discussion earlier was you're gonna combine the properties, and you can do that, she can do that all on her own, she has
Yep.
that level of authority to write that letter, and then ultimately just go to the property appraiser's office, get it combined, and then you don't have to come before council or anything. At that
Right.
point, you just come back to this young lady right here, and she'll, you know,
Alright.
say it's okay for you to
Yeah.
get your permit, and then if we're still doing business with EPCI at that point, then ultimately, you know, you'll get whatever permit you need in order to build that
Alright.
garage, okay?
Yeah, I took your advice, and it was good advice. Thank you very much.
Well, actually, I think it was John here.
Oh, yeah,
who-
yeah, he
who-
said something about it, 'cause it.
He's the guy who said, wait, you do, there's commonality there in that roadway. It's not a city-owned
It's not
road.
city or state-owned, it's,
That's
it's
exactly,
all
you
owned
own
by the
it.
individual,
You own
so,
it.
yeah,
You
yeah,
own
so
it.
we own it.
Yep, that's right. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Davis. Appreciate your time. Very good. So we're not gonna take a vote on that because, he came before us with a variance, but he's not gonna need a variance if he combines the property and then, you know what I'm saying?
Sure, right, now I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Maybe he withdraws it, I guess, or that would be the.
So can we get an official, I'm withdrawing the variance because you're gonna
Oh,
take?
yeah, sure,
Okay,
sure,
very good,
sure.
very good. If you'll put that in
And
the
I'm sure
notes.
y'all keep the money, I mean, that's, 'cause it went through the process, you know, so, no problem.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Appreciate your time. Very good. Okay. And, again, I don't wanna, blister your name, sir. Is it Hangav? Say it again, sir? Bango? Mr. Bango, how are you, sir? Good. And because we have people electronically listening to this, if you don't mind sort of giving us your name again and then what you're attempting with your property?
My name is Harshar Bangav, and I bought a quadplex nearby here, 110 Sherry Lane. Right now it's sitting on one parcel, and I'm hoping to split into 4 parcels so that each unit can have its own lot and they can be sell off individually.
Can you not sell those individually?
Right now it will have to sell as one parcel, or all 4 has to be sold at once. So
As-
if the zoning allows, then I would like to have split them into 4 parcels so that each one unit is sitting on its own parcel. And the neighboring plats, mostly I look, they are already split, most of them, in that circle.
The land is split on the neighboring
Yeah,
parcels?
the lot.
The lot is split.
The neighboring quadplexes on the same street, most of them they have 4 parcels for each quadplex.
Yes, sir.
So I was hoping to do the same for this one.
Anybody confirm that? Can you bring up the property appraiser's office and put in Cherry Lane? I looked at that earlier and I didn't see that those other ones were split, but it's probably just because I was not looking specifically for that. Just let us confirm that real fast. Any questions from the commissioners?
I don't understand how that works with townhomes. Is that,
Yeah, they're attached.
yeah, are they usually one plot per so many, or are most of them usually individual?
Believe it or not, there's different laws within
Yeah.
the state. Like condominiums, for example, can
Right.
be on one large parcel
Right.
of land and then you own the individual spaces
Right.
that are in there. What he's wanting to do is to segregate that.
Right.
And he's in an MU, yeah, it's the green area, it's MU1. So they can put up to 15 dwelling units per acre of land that's there.
So I just didn't know what the common way to do it is.
I'm just
Mixture.
wondering, do we know anything about why, I mean, is this even necessary for him? He can't sell the individual parcels of land without splitting the land?
I would think that he needs to split the land so that the properties or I think there's 4 townhome units.
Yeah, yeah.
Would be taxed individually rather than as a whole. So there'd be 4 separate tax bills, one for each unit rather
see.
than one tax bill for all 4 units. I'm assuming that they're all rental units at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah. So is that your?
Right now it's like
purpose?
1 tax parcel number, so eventually you'll get like 4 tax parcel numbers.
Right.
So the unit, like, numbered as 110, 112, 114, and 116. And that way, you know, if 110 needs to be sold, then that can be sold on this land. So pretty much if this is the land, there are 3 lines been drawn by the surveying company already, so I submitted the survey.
So you own that building and you
And
have to
that-
act as a landlord rather than being able to sell the units individually, is that?
Yeah, that
Okay.
in the
So
future,
they are
like,
separate.
it can be sold separately.
You'd like to be able to sell
These
the
are separate.
individual units?
Individual units, or keep 1 and sell 3, or keep 2 and sell 2.
Okay.
Whereas also for a buyer, it'll be less affordable to buy a single unit than
Yes.
having to buy
But,
all 4.
see, that's a lot, right?
Right.
And that's a lot, and that's a lot.
We can take this overlay for the sales off. Like, you can see this is 4 townhomes, and then this is his parcel and 4 townhomes.
Isn't that one lot though, right there, and that's one lot, and that's one lot, and then you got the townhome separate?
Right, they're on their, it appears that they're on their own separate parcels, but this
Yeah.
is one building essentially with 4 separate townhomes that are each divided into one.
there too, if you wanna
Yeah,
get a visual.
okay.
Is there a homeowners association for all of them?
No, there's no
Nothing like
homeowner
that?
association,
Okay.
and
Okay.
Yeah, they did
So
split 'em
each
up.
individual would have to maintain their own roof and building front and back, and each end unit would also have the
Yeah,
side.
so that's a completely different color.
building.
Okay,
And,
is it across here? No, that's, okay, that one's one.
they are built to the design where they can be easily split, like,
Okay.
so it's like one unit has the ground floor and the top floor as well.
Okay, so they just have a common wall?
It's just one,
is-
yeah,
right.
common wall in between.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
All right. All right, I think I got a understanding of what's going on here. So some of them are split, some of them are not.
Yeah.
Now, when I did the math on it though, just to be aware, there are some other things here that you need to be aware of. For example, if you look at your, you know, where your buildings are in relationship to your lot lines, so you would need a variance for that, because your side property lines, I think for MU 1 has got to be 7 feet. Is that right? I think that's what it is. Let me just confirm it real fast so we're not talking. Here we go. Yeah. Okay, so MU1. Yeah, your side yards, it'd have to be 7 feet, so we're off. We got one at 4.7, one at 5.4, 5.6. Well, the difference is they're there right now the way they are, right? So nothing's changing there. So John, if he is able to split these, then he can just have what, separate deeds on that property? Is that what the deal would be?
Yes, I imagine that, and actually this probably has
It
his.
has four legal descriptions have been already drafted.
Yeah. I think that's what we're looking at right here. So we're not adding, okay.
I have a little bigger page if you want it.
Okay, so here's what, if we just go by the math, let me give you some,
This is a little
can
bigger.
we take a peek at that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, actually, I think we've got that. We got that already. Yes, sir, we've got that. Okay, so here's what we've got. So, right now, I guess he would have, one owner would have to buy them all because they're all on the same parcel of land.
And then he just becomes a landlord. He lives
Yeah.
in one and a landlord to the 3.
Yeah. Now, there is a rule, just so everybody knows, that this is, right now, this is what's referred to as a legal nonconforming structure, okay? So it's a legal nonconforming structure, and as as planners, we're not supposed to do anything that should increase the level of nonconformity, okay? So the heartburn I've got is if you look at the amount of property he's got .257 acres total, and it's MU2, so you can have 15, so if you do the math on that, it means that he would really have to have closer to a little over about .3 and change. Okay, so right now he's got a total of about 11,616 square foot of area, and he's 500 square foot short of having 4 residences on a, you know, so if you split it and say, okay, now I got 4 individual residences, like I say, is about 500 square foot short.
And he split it into 3 rather than 4, so that one would be sold as a duplex, a single family, but duplex, and then the other 2 would be townhouses. Does that meet the math requirement? I'm just thinking outside the box.
I'm actually wondering again, I mean, why, I mean, condominiums are on one large parcel of land. Can't you, I mean, condominium law is pretty specific.
Well, this, yeah.
Why do you need to own the land? Can't you just buy the property? I mean, can't you just leave it the way it is and sell off the individual properties?
I think that might be an alternative. Normally, they're developed that way, I
Yeah.
think, from the outset, and
Yeah.
you know, it's to use that as a way to get around
Yeah,
the
yeah.
municipal regulations is probably not
I see.
not something I guess we should recommend at least.
Yeah, yeah.
In
Okay.
Maryland, you could buy a property and not the land. It was called a leasehold. You
Mhm.
owned the building, but you paid an annual ground rent.
Mm-hmm.
So if splitting the land is the issue and not the buildings,
Yeah,
that's just wrong. It's not that different from the trailer park.
Yeah.
They own the building, they own the trailer, they lease the land. So
Yeah.
is there any way that he can split the buildings and be a ground rent holder? Or call one of them, keep 2 of them together as his primary residence and the other 2. Now you've only got 3 on that parcel of land, not 4,
yeah,
and your square footage issue is addressed.
yeah,
Just,
yeah, it's a good point.
okay.
And there's no way to sell those things on one large parcel of land, right?
Because then the property tax would be, right now it's only one property tax
Yeah.
assessed on the one parcel.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, it would have to be divided up, you know,
Yeah.
to
Okay.
pay a separate property tax for the.
That way he'd have to still pay property tax.
Right, that's why you're the ground holder. So you collect from your building owners, and you actually have the right to foreclose in the event of non-payment. It's something that I learned in Maryland, that's all, so,
Yeah.
okay.
So, okay, a couple of things. So, first of all, it's a legal non-conforming structure right now, not non-conforming use, legal non-conforming structure. Okay, because of the parcel of land that it's on and the fact that there's 4 dwellings on it right now. It's technically supposed to be just a little bit bigger in terms of the land that it's on, but it's
okay,
it's
isn't
already
it?
there.
It's okay. isn't it?
Yeah, he's not doing anything. What I'm struggling with is by identifying that they could split the parcel into 4 parcels. Are we increasing the level of nonconformity by doing that, or not, because it's already there?
I think we're reducing it, but maybe not.
Yeah,
We're changing it.
Yeah.
You're trading one for the other.
yeah.
How'd the other ones get done?
Yeah,
Well,
the others,
that's a really good point, because the other ones have been split.
You know, I'd have a different view of it. I'd say, no way. And
If all the
one's
other
already
ones
been
were that
done,
way, yeah.
So
Yeah,
just asking
That's
for
why
the same
I
thing.
looked at it like, you know, all
Yeah.
because they're the same size parcel if they were to be one.
yeah,
And they have been already gone through this process and they have been 4
yeah.
divided up already. I think maybe 1 or 2 are still not there, but the other
Yeah.
ones are.
Do we know when they were split? Or is there any way
Yeah,
to see?
it'll tell you right on that property, on each of those,
I don't know, but it tells you the sales, I don't know.
It won't tell you when it's split.
oh, I got you, okay. But about 2/3 of them are split. And then, this gentleman's, and then some across the way on the other side have not, but many of them have already been split.
I guess if there's any way to see how that was done, or can you dig down into the nuts and bolts and see when?
Mm.
Was it, have rules changed since then, or is there a way around it, or is it a non-issue?
I think ultimately it's just changing the manner in which he's being taxed on this property. It doesn't change he's not asking for any sort of variance with regards to prospective development. He's asking for just a change in the manner in which he's being taxed, which will also allow him to sell the property off.
Thank
at
you.
a different
In
rate.
pieces,
Listen,
right.
no, actually, John, that helps a lot, because, because again, he's not building any new structures. He's not adding really to the level of nonconformity, because we wouldn't be able to do that, all right, if it is. It's really just a matter, really, this is just so you can sell the properties, and those new owners can have their own tax bills with their own property on it. Yeah. We are going to essentially, he's 500 square feet short when you combine all four of them, but if you divvy them up, he's only like 125 square feet short per property then.
Yeah.
So really, we're close at that point.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
That's my way, we can't change that, he can't change that.
Yeah, and sorry, sometimes, when complex issues like this come up, this is how we kind of figure it out.
I've never dealt with this before,
All right.
anything like this, so.
I was
Oh, okay, very good.
curious.
All right. Anything else that you want to add? Okay, when I first looked at this, I was a little concerned about it, only because of the nonconformity that already exists on the side yards, the total space that's there.
Is this the only one that hasn't been split?
No, there's others that have not been.
2/3.
Yeah, about 2/3 have been split. The ones across the way and down have not been split as well. But the ones directly adjacent to you have been split. So, and I think that's the answer, is he's really just looking for a different way to tax it. He's not really looking to do anything different other than give him the right to sell it off as individual parcels.
I
Right.
think hypothetically, he could, based on the survey that he has here, he could go ahead and sell it to a prospective buyer without actually requesting this, but then it's gonna cause problems for the buyer, it's gonna cause problems for him in the sense that he's gonna be paying that buyer's taxes. The buyer won't be able to get a mortgage because the mortgage company's gonna wanna make sure that the taxes are paid so that their mortgage is not foreclosed out by a tax lien. So,
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not gonna, I guess, rescind any sort of deed that he might execute with the legal description describing any one of these particular townhome units.
Okay.
Most of the time, a variance is to change something.
Well,
This
you're
doesn't
wanting to change the
change.
tax bill,
Right.
right? That's
Right.
what you're
Yeah.
needing to change from 1 to 4.
That's,
It's,
I don't see anything being
Would-
physically changed.
No.
Really,
Would
and
the shared wall affect any kind of ownership? Like between each one?
I think you own up to the wall. I think that's it.
There's
Yeah.
usually a common wall, it's like a townhome.
Yeah, and, just like a condominium where you own the space inside of it. Okay. I think we could probably ask for a motion then, and the motion may sound something like, we're willing to go ahead and split this. The principal purpose of it is for the, so that each individual owner of these properties will have a very specific tax bill. There's nothing being built on it. There's nothing being altered. We're simply changing, the property lines.
Mhm.
So I'll ask for a motion that ultimately says either yay, nay, or conditional.
I'll make a motion that we approve it with the split, as it is listed on the, variance.
Now, that he's not asking for a variance.
Or for the.
It's just for a requested lot split, partial
lot
split.
split.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I get a second to that?
I
Okay,
second.
we'll second it. Can I get a vote, please?
Absolutely. Mr. Merritt?
Yes.
Ms. Powering?
Yes.
Mr. Striker?
Yes.
Chairman Riga?
Yes, I'll have to explain this to the mayor.
Yes.
But I think,
That's
I
why
think
you
we'll
get
have
paid
to figure it out.
That's right.
All right, very good. Okay, well, thank you, sir. Now, the next step, this is not a variance, so he really just needs to go to you. So your next step is to go to Ingrid and get a letter from her that identifies that the city is approving. Does the lot split have to go before council members? I think it does, yeah. You do have to come before council members. So just go ahead and just know that, and then identify exactly as John had identified that we're doing this purely so that we can sell off the individual parcels and so that there's separation between who gets what tax bill.
Yeah.
We're not increasing, we're not doing anything with regard to conformity or non-conformance or increasing non-conformity, any of that thing. It's really just we're separating the properties.
Yeah.
All right, sir? Thanks for your time.
Thank you. And the next meeting is when?
The next meeting for the council members is
May 6th,
May 6th, yeah.
5:30.
Boy, that's way out there, so they're not gonna have
It
another
is.
meeting
There's
in
a
April.
fifth Tuesday.
Oh, I got you, I got
If
you.
I'm not here, can somebody else come?
Somebody else can come, but they probably need to be prepared, because there will be some questions, okay, by the council members about why are you doing it? I mean, these properties have had some issues. That's actually like the city doesn't even own that road down there, okay? And there's been flooding in this particular area. So they may have some questions about that, and, their questions might be, there've been some problems with those properties, are we, adding gas to some
Required
fire?
to do any other improvements in order for me to do this? 'Cause I'm kind of also like, should I even do this or not? So I'm kind of exploring.
I think I'd go to that meeting, the May 6th meeting, but just,
Everything we can,
or have somebody else attend the meeting and say, look, the reason we're wanting this split is so we can separate, who owes what taxes. It's really that simple. We're not changing any levels of conformity or non-conformity. All we're doing is we're trying to clearly delineate who pays what taxes for each individual property. And so that one person doesn't have to buy all four, we can have four individual owners.
It would also, it promotes homeownership, because 1/4 is gonna be more affordable. You'll have 4 owners and
Yeah.
4 taxpayers instead of one, a landlord of 3.
Yeah, that's the main reason.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. Thanks for improving the city. Okay. Terry, anything for the group?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. And you want to share anything with us or have any questions for the group? Ingrid, you
Nothing
have
I can
anything?
share publicly, but thank you for,
John, anything that you'd like to discuss?
No, sir.
Kyle?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. So Ingrid, I think is probably going to remind us probably next month when that Form 1 is going to be necessary. That's the financial disclosure. Remember on those, you don't put any amounts down, just own, what you own and that sort of thing. And that's all that I've got. So, and I will be, so Terry, if you'll run the meeting in June, I'll be here in May, but in June, we've got some families that
think
we're
I will be
going
here
to
in
be
May.
seeing.
I won't be here in May.
And, okay, you'll be out in May? Okay, very good, very good. Okay,
And
nothing else?
It's called Form 1.
Yeah, Ingrid's gonna probably send it to us via email. Everybody get their city emails and everything, okay?
You
Yeah.
have to submit it electronically now, online.
This has to be submitted electronically?
Online.
Okay, very good.
It's really easy.
Okay, very good. Okay, well, we'll shut the meeting down. Thank you, everybody.